let's talk about some of the functions or methods that strings have to offer. And keep in mind that the main objective of this is just to show you some of the things that we can do with strings. And everything here is going to be put in a reference guide for you. So I wouldn't suggest that you memorize each and every single thing. So the very first one we're going to look at is the strip method. And with this method, we're basically going to remove all the white spaces. So any white space you can see here, like the white space that it starts with or the white space that the string ends with, will all be removed. And it will look something like this. And if we do put some type of character in the parentheses, we are basically trying to remove any occurrence of that character that is at the beginning or the end of the string. In this case, we have a D at the end of the string, so we're removing that character. So next is the split method. And with this method, we are basically going to split the string into several different strings. So in this case, but will be one string, life will be another string, is will be another string, and good will be another string. And all of this will be put in a structure that we call a list. We will talk a lot more about lists later, but just know that the split method is going to split your string based on all the white spaces that you have in between each word. And the next one that we have is replace. And as you probably have already guessed, we are going to replace all the occurrences of the characters in the very first parameter with the characters in the second parameter. So for instance, if I do a replace me with you, the resultant string will be help you. And the next one we have here is starts with. This is very self-explanatory. We're basically checking to see if the string starts with whatever we have in the brackets. And in this case, since it does, this will return a true. And in a similar way, ends with, we'll check if the characters are what this string ends with. And in this case, since the string ends with rice, this will be true. And for the upper method, we are basically going to convert all the characters into uppercase. And the opposite of this will be the lower method, which will convert all the uppercase letters to lowercase. And capitalize here will change the very first character of the string into an uppercase. And here, for find, we are trying to figure out if there's an occurrence of a specific character in the string. And in this case, we're looking for I. And the result we'll get is the index position of that I. And if there's several I's in the string, we will get the very first occurrence of that I. So in this case, the very first I occurs at index location 4. And here, the count method, which is also pretty self-explanatory, will count how many occurrences of a specific character is in a string. In this case, we're checking for E. And if you look here, we have 2 occurrences of E. So the count here will be 2. So I'm going to show you some of the use cases of some of these string methods. And the first one we're going to talk about is the strip method. And the use case for that is, let's say we are storing a variable or we are asking the user for inputs. And the user inputs, let's say, their username. And if they're copy and pasting their username, sometimes the value of the input may carry some type of extra spaces in the beginning or the end. So let's say, for instance, the name was Danny 101. But for some reason, when they copied and pasted this over, it had some extra spaces. So in this case, we will use the .strip method. And the string actually ends up looking something like this. So this is quite useful if we are collecting some type of data from the user, and that type of data could have some spaces that will interfere with the normal run of our program. So let me show you another string method. And this method is the replace method. So one way we can use the replace method on this string is to remove all the abbreviations. So let's say we wanted to convert all the instances of US into the full text, which is United States. So if I run my code, you can see that all the instances of US in our string is converted to United States. The replace method is very useful if we have a lot of occurrences of some type of characters in our string that we want to change. It will be difficult to change each one manually if we have, let's say, tens or hundreds of occurrences in our string. So using the replace method, we can quickly and easily replace all the occurrences of a specific character in our string. And another useful method is the starts with method. And let's say we want to check if this person is a woman or man based on the salutation. So to do this, we're checking if the string begins with Mr. And if I run this code, I get true. And we can assume that if I do get true, then that means that the name in the string is a man's name.